Okay. All right, thank you everyone for joining me today. It's always a pleasure having you in class. Okay, let's start with our warm-up. So finding that comfortable standing position, feet are shoulder width. Maybe we check to look down to see if they're straight, kind of training ourselves into center here. And we're just starting at the top always. So chin to chest, lifting the head back up, moving at your own pace, finding a comfortable breath as you move through these warm-ups. Never stretching too far, letting your body relax. We're just kind of counterbalancing all of that time we spend staring at a screen. Maybe one more. And then we'll lift back up to center and we'll look over each shoulder. So turning your head like single whip, looking over your shoulder from side to side. Maybe taking some time to notice how each side feels different. Maybe when you look to your left, it feels a little more flexible because of all that time we spend in single whip. But try to relax, focus on your breath, and then we're going to come to center and link it all together. So chin to chest, ear to shoulder, dropping the head back and around. Again, move at your own pace. Try to release any tension in your body. And just focusing on your breath. On the next circle, when we get down to center, we're going to go the other way. So rotating that circle in the opposite direction. Letting the shoulders hang. And just releasing the tension. Maybe doing one more circle before we draw our chin to our chest and then slowly lift back up into a neutral position. Let's come into the shoulders. So we're going to draw them back, up, and around. So nice big movement. Squeeze the shoulder blades together as much or as little arm movement as you'd like. Feeling that balance, rooting feeling all the way down through your toes and your heel of your foot. You're connected. Let's go the other way. So up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. Nice full rotation. So when we do our practice, our joints are loose. Our muscles are already warmed up. The energy's flowing. Okay, take one more circle. Let them hang down and then maybe letting them go to neutral. Moving into the arms. Both arms come out to the side. And we're going to do like wave hands. So pressing down, fingertips down, rotate at the side. So both arms. I'm just not demonstrating because of my shoulder thing. So both arms. It's one of the movements I can't do. So both arms come down, back, and out, and up. So nice circles. Seeing how the points back, we ward off, up, rotate, just like wave hands. Keeping our wrist in line. We don't want to have it cocked as we go down. We want everything in line, using the shoulders and elbows. Okay? Then on the last one, rotate, drop them down. Maybe shake them out. So going into the wrist, both arms come up if you want, and you can just circle, or you can draw it in. Both arms come in, they go down and out. So whatever feels good. Do a couple of rotations one way, and then we'll go the other. Again, that would be up and out this time if you're doing both. Good, let's shake out the arms. Let's find that stable stance, okay? And we're gonna turn from our waist here. So we're gonna use our waist, warming up our waist, letting the arms swing. We're doing our hug a tree if that feels more comfortable to you. but we want to make sure we're not closing our legs. Our stance is grounded. Our crotch area is rounded, and we're using our waist area. Turning the upper bodies. The shoulders turn, but it's coming from our middle. So you can let the arms swing and hit. And then we're going to ease off. So not going as far until we finally make our way gently back to center. Okay, a couple more joints, right? So let's go to the hips. Nice hip circle. So if you want shoulder width or step it out a little bit wider, just be comfortable. And then circles. So nice large circle or a nice small circle. Whatever feels good for your body. Hands on your hips, hands relaxed down. Whatever feels good. Taking a moment to notice your breath. You have that smooth, even, continuous breath. Let's go the other direction. Take a moment and just focus in on your breathing. One or two more circles. And then we'll make our way back to center. And we're going to move into the knees and ankles. So we're going to lift, we're going to shift our weight to one side, lift our heel off the ground, maybe stepping out a little bit, and rotating. So circling hip, knees, and ankles. 3 for 1. If you want to just do the ankles, that's what feels good, do it. I'm just a guide. These are just warm-ups that I like, and I'm just trying to show you what I think feels good. So always feel free to modify. Other direction, nice circles. Couple of more. Just kind of even in and out, one way and the other. And then we'll relax that leg. Maybe shake it out if that feels good. And then we're going to shift our weight to the other side. Pick up, maybe touching out a little bit further, and the same thing. So hips, knees, and ankles. All kind of rotating and warming up at the same time. And then we'll go the other direction. Keeping that nice, long, even, continuous breath. And then we'll relax off. We'll find our center, and let's just shake it out. So if you want to just shake everything, or if you want to draw the shoulders up and throw them down, just shake it out. Get the energy flowing. And then depending on how intense your shake is, you got to slowly ease off. Okay. Good. Is the energy flowing? All right. So now we're going to get into that part where we practice everything we've been working on. So Kelly is going to demonstrate, and we're going to go from cross hands all the way through to the second single whip. Okay. So that includes wave hands like clouds to the next single whip. So we're going to spotlight Kelly. Okay. So cross hands. Let's find a nice position, lifting up through the crown of the head. Right arms on the outside, finding that neutral position, sinking into your legs. Okay, embrace the tiger, return to the mountain. Keeping that smooth, even pace. Relaxed breath, roll back. Press. And push. Fist under elbow. Transitioning like single whip. Except we push out to the side. Warding off. And then fist under elbow. Empty stance on the heel. Repulse monkey. Number 1. Number 2. Last one. Number 3. Diagonal flying. Big circle. Step. Splitting energy. Raise hands and step forward. White crane spreads its wings. Brush knee and push. Needle at the C bottom. Fan through the back. Turn body, chalk with fist. Parry, block, and punch. Grasping the bird's tail, ward off right. Roll back. Press. And push. Single whip. Wave hands like clouds. Number 1. Stepping double wide. Shoulder width for number 2. Double wide. Shoulder width. One more, double wide, single whip. Very nice. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, that was actually really great. It was nice to spend some time watching everyone. Everyone here has learned so much. I can literally say that almost every person in this room is focusing on keeping their shoulders down. We're keeping our space in our arms. It looks really good. It looks really, really good. Does anyone have any questions on those movements? No? Did anyone notice anything different? A couple of you looked at the camera at the end. Yeah. There was an extra wave hands, right?
I thought it was my imagination. I thought, oh no, I'm on 3. Okay, I skipped one.
Okay.
I love that Kelly followed me, and then I'm watching everyone, and I was like, they know the form. They're learning the sequence. They got this. That was awesome. Okay, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on high pat on horse, okay? And then we're gonna spend some time just talking about our balance and kicking, okay? We're not gonna get into the arms yet because I just want you to work on balance for the next week before we get to the kicking section, okay? So high pat on horse, we're gonna go from a bow stance to an empty stance. So this is gonna teach us if our bow stance is the right length. And how is that gonna happen? So when we're doing this movement, we're in a bow stance with our left leg forward. Now, this is going to test our stance by if we can move back our weight, pick up our foot, and change to an empty stance. So we're going from a bow stance that is shoulder width. We're going to shift back, and we're bringing our foot in. One line, two sides, okay? So everyone come into an empty stance.
I can tell you right now that mine is too long. Because I always have trouble with
this
that.
Is the perfect test. So what that's going to teach you is when you go when you step out for a bow stance, don't extend. Just like when I mentioned it for repulse monkey when we step backwards, right? I'm like, natural step. It's the same thing when we step forward. So everyone start in just a neutral position. This is how we're going to know if it's correct. We're going to shift our weight to our left. I'll mirror you, okay? Turn your right foot and leg corner direction. Shift your weight so you can pick up. Then step out. Now, when you step out, just touch with your heel and see if you can lift up, right? That's your bow stance. Then move your weight forward. Now, what will happen is if I go from here and I can only reach here, if I extend like this, I cannot move back without dragging my foot, okay? And so when we do these movements, we wanna make sure that when we start, if you're just starting and standing here and I say go into a left bow stance, that when you step out, you get used to what that means for you. So I don't say go into a left bow stance and you try to take a super long stance. You know your body, you know what your stance is. So every time you'll get used to going into that same feeling. So let's put our left leg forward in a nice bow stance. We're shoulder width, so 2 train tracks. Shift your weight back. So we're going, everyone turn your body straight, like you're in single whip, okay? We're straight. We're gonna shift back our weight, and we can't stay straight up and to the side, so our waist is gonna turn a little bit. Then we pick up, touch with the toes, and we're gonna turn our body to straight. We're leaning forward into our front leg. We're not leaning into the empty space, okay? We're leaning towards our front leg. We're not straight up and down. We're leaning. We're sitting. This is our body angle. So if we did a bow stance, we have the one line from our foot to our head. Here, we're leaning, not straight, lean, and not to the side, straight to where your weight is. Okay, let's do it again. So I'll mirror you. So left leg forward, body is open to the side. You're in single whip, so you're straight up and down. As you shift back, you're going to turn your waist a little bit. You're turning. Pick up, change to the ball of your foot and your toe, step in maybe closer each direction. Turn your waist to square, so I'm facing the camera now, and weight is in the bubbling well. So the ball of your foot, your suction cup to the ground. How do we feel about the footwork? Not too bad, right? This is a nice one for the footwork, okay? But it does take you knowing where your stance is. So whenever you do the form, never overextending yourself so that you can move your weight back and just pick up to change to an empty stance, okay? So we were working on this in basics. So you guys who were here earlier, you're gonna get a little bit more. So come into a stance with your left leg forward, bow stance. We're gonna test this theory a little bit. Shift back your weight Come up on the edge of your heel, change empty stance on the toes. Your weight moves forward. Pick up your foot. This time you're gonna step back like repulsed monkey. Touch with your foot. Push back like repulsed monkey. Now all of your weight, 70-30, right? Pick up, change, or just turn and change to the corner so you can move your weight forward and step out bow stance. Now move back, pick up, change to empty stance. Good, now relax. What did you notice? Oh, you're muted, Veronica.
I put my left foot down hard because I was off balance.
So moving slow. And remember the body direction, okay? So when we're on one leg, it's a lot more difficult to hold with your body square than versus if you're turned a little bit. Now I'm not 45 to the corner, but I'm not straight. It's that less than straight. So everyone get in one leg. Try to, you can't see, but my foot's off the ground. Even if you touch with your toes, you'll still feel the difference. So the tops of your toes like this. So if you just touch to get your balance a little bit better. Now take your torso, your waist, turn it to straight. Your shoulders are square. How does that affect your balance to if you turned a little bit off of straight or if you went to the corner? Notice how your weight changes in your ability to hold this position when you turn the direction of your body. Now switch legs. So putting the weight, empty stance, maybe touch with the toes if you need, but no weight on the toes. It's just there as like stability. And turn your torso. Notice how your breathing changes maybe when you go to straight versus relaxes when you get off straight. Maybe changes when you go all the way to 45. So just playing with this, understanding your balance, how the weight changes in your feet, how your body direction changes your balance. Okay, good. This is helping. This will affect your balance, okay? Like where you are in relation to your lower half will change your balance, okay? So let's talk about the arms. We've talked about the lower body. We've talked about the body direction. So with single whip to high pat on horse, okay? I'm in a bow stance facing you. This is with an opponent coming at you from the front, okay? We shift back the weight, open the hook, and turn over your left palm. Because then you're gonna change to your empty stance and one arm goes forward and one's back, right? So from here, single whip, shift your weight back, open up your hook, shoulders are down. Change to the ball of the foot and then one arm forward, one back. So what we're doing is we're grabbing our opponent. Either they've punched and we're grabbing, or they've grabbed our wrist and we're re-grabbing, and we're pulling them in to the throat. So we're striking the throat. And that's the one forward, one back. Okay? So you want to time this so that everything arrives together. Okay? So I'm not going to do this, and this is going to be out here, and I'm still pulling this. Or this is here, and then I'm going there. You want to have them kind of meet in the middle. Keep going. Do you see how there's a point where they're crossing? Okay, and we're using the edge of the palm here. This is what we're using to strike to our opponent's throat. So when we do this movement, your palm edge should be at your throat level. That's how you'll know you're in the right direction. We have a nice rounded shape, but our arm is lifted. So we're not angular, we're extending out. And then our left hand sits at our rib cage, lower ribs. The elbow kind of is to the corner direction, so it's not straight back. It's kind of out to the corner. Okay, let's do this a couple of times. So from single whip, I'll go the normal direction, okay? We're in single whip. You're looking over your left palm. Check your stance real quick. Can you pick up your foot? Since we just started, if you shift back, this is important. Okay, we shift our weight back. The left hand rotates up, the hook comes into the shoulder. Change to the ball of the foot and the toes, turning your torso and striking out. One pulling back, one striking out. Okay, let's relax the arms, step back for another bow stance. Torso's up and down, single whip. Shift back the weight, open the hook, rotate the left arm, change to an empty stance, turning from the waist, okay? So everyone do this. Start from your empty stance. Can you see how my body is to the corner? If I come closer, turn. The waist is turning. You notice how the space here in my legs does not change? Okay, I'm not turning and closing my legs. Legs are staying the same. I'm pushing a little bit of weight into that front leg, but I'm turning. Good, let's see a couple.
And your hips remain to the corner.
Yes, that's what I mean. The legs don't change. So we have this stable feeling in our legs, and we're just pouring some weight forward. Yes. Oh man, you guys are really turning. It looks really good. And remember, throat level. Unless you have shoulder things, then keep it lower, okay? We can modify the form for our own body, but we want to try to be standard, okay? Good. How do we feel about this movement? Do you have any questions?
This is Michelle. I'm trying to think when we go to an empty stance, excuse me, it's easier for me to do it with the back foot than the front foot.
What do you mean by that?
I'm choking to death. I can't. One of the moves we changed to an empty stance with our back foot just moving in.
Oh yes.
Whereas this one, the front foot is moving in.
Raise hands and step forward. We do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So so they switch back and forth a lot, or is it mostly getting into an open stance with the front foot or the back? I think, boy, I don't know. Okay, so here's the whole thing. We have our form, right? Our form is preparing us to be able to do this in any direction. Right. So what does that mean? That we have the ability to step forward. We have the ability to step back, right? So we can step forward or back, or we can step to the side. Empty stance, back, right? So these are methods of training. So we can get these techniques, and then maybe you don't see these other steps within the form, but when you see these adjustments, like the perfect example is in the first section, we go from raised hands and step forward to white crane. We circle the arms down, we pick up and step to the corner. So we call this a tap step, T-A-P, tap step. Now, what does that mean? We're tapping the ground and we're adjusting, okay? So what if from here, someone was coming to us and we went this way? What is stopping us from taking this adjustment that is in a railroad track, one line this way, and saying that in practical use, we wouldn't have to step back, okay? Or I wouldn't have to step forward. So these are methods to train us to link everything together. Does that make sense, Michelle? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm still working on balance. That's all it is about for me.
So
is balance.
Balance is about slow movements. Sometimes the slower you move, the more time you have to think about what you're doing, right? The more time you have to feel stable within that rooted leg when you pick up the other one. So when you're doing this, step out. So you know
that the transition from single whip to high pattern horse might be a difficult one. Maybe it's more difficult because your stance is a little long. So let's do it again. And this time, Michelle, and maybe everyone else, if it feels like a struggle, I want you to take a shorter bow stance, okay? So I would normally step out here. Well, I'm gonna step out here, okay? I'm gonna take a shorter stance. We're gonna do our single whip, shorter stance. We're gonna move back our weight nice and slow. Open the hook, rotate the left palm. Pick up your left leg, change to the toes, one forward, one back. Okay, was that easier for anyone else? With a shorter stance? Yeah. Michelle?
Yeah, it's easier with a shorter stance, yeah.
Okay, so when we're practicing these movements, once you sink down for the form, that's your level, right? So once we turn for ward off left, we've sunk down, right? That's the level, but maybe our level needs to change. So maybe that means that we need to shorten our stance for a bit. Now you can always challenge yourself and take a longer stance for a day or a week or whatever and try to work on that strength. But throughout it, we want you to feel comfortable. The whole point of this is to have agility, okay? So if you have a stance where you can't change from one stance to the other, you have lost agility, okay? So let's do it again. Everyone take the stance that feels good for you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
When you're in your hook, I can arm. Is it just going in like that, or is it going out? Or
yeah, so elbow bending. So hook, elbow bends, body turns.
Okay, so it is.
Hook, bend, and sitting up the palm, right? So we're going from the hook, and then we're sitting it up. So it's not flat, it's seated. So then we can use the edge. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, everyone pick a stance that's comfortable. So maybe set your right foot to the corner and then step out naturally so that you know it's a good stance. Body and torso's turned, single whip. Move back your weight. Open up your hook, turn over your left palm. Change to the ball of foot and toes. Use your body turning, one arm forward, one back. Now, how do you feel with your weight? Everyone push off your front foot. How does your weight feel between your 2 feet? Do we feel rooted and stable? We want to check for this, okay? Let's pick up your foot and step out for a bow stance. Let's do it again. Single whip, so open up, hooks 45, looking over your left palm. We're gonna stay looking over our left palm. And then we're gonna switch and look at our right palm. Not at, but in the vicinity of, okay? So our gaze follows our dominant arm, okay? So whichever arm is forward, typically is the arm you're gonna follow. White crane and spreads its wings, it's neutral, right? Our opponent's here, so we're looking forward. But here, we're looking, we continue looking towards the left palm, but then we change. Can you see my head turn that little bit? Because I'm looking over this palm, still looking over that palm, and then this is now the dominant arm that's striking. Little details if you're there, okay? I just wanna make sure everyone has something, okay? So let's do it one more time. I'm gonna face the camera if you'd like to face the camera as well, okay? I want you guys to see the arms. So we're in a bow stance. Left leg is forward. We're gonna shift back our weight, open up your hook. Check here, your shoulders and elbows down. Change to the empty stance on your toes. And now use your turning to pull forward and back. Good. Let's do it again. Shift, step out for a bow stance. Single whip.
Do you mind stepping a little bit back so I can see your feet?
Yep.
Thank
No
you.
problem, Karen. Yeah. Okay, so single whip. Left foot forward, left palm striking, hook hand. Move back your weight, open up your hook, pick up, touch with the toes, and then one forward, one back. Okay, how do we feel? This one can be a little bit easier sometimes.
So Cheryl, one thing I don't get a strong sense of is very much weight of the body shifting forward into this strike, into the throat. So I know that there's
so
not
30%.
Yeah, so when you want to move forward though, when you touch down into your empty stance and then you move forward your body with the strike, right? Slightly.
Yeah, but okay, let me show you from this angle. So I'm here and I've shifted all my weight back. So this is pretty empty, right? My left foot. I change and touch with the toes, but it's a light touch. I can still pick up before issuing the power. And when we do this, you're seeing me move a little bit, but we're not moving like this. We're not moving into a bow stance. It's just pushing off the front foot. So having that resistance.
So most
Does that help, Marion?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to, I either feel like there's not enough power in it, or I think I'm using too much of my torso, moving my whole body forward a little too much, trying to like put weight into it. So, okay.
Do you have a bathroom scale?
Yeah.
Nancy gave me this great one. Weigh yourself on the scale, divide the number by 3, and then do an empty stance with just your front foot on the scale, heel and toe. Scales under your foot, 30%. It's very eye-opening as to how much 30% is and how you could be spot on one side and then way off on the other. So try it. If you have a bathroom scale, get on your scale, weigh yourself, divide the number by 3 so then you know what 30% of your weight is and how much you should be pushing off of the scale. And that'll kind of give you an idea.
What I get a little confused about is not the weight on the front foot as much as the striking power of the upper body. You know, like how far forward you push with the hand in order to strike someone's throat, how hard you do it, that kind of thing.
So you don't want to think about, so this is from Nancy's Essentials class, intend not to use force, right? So we don't want to use force. Now we don't want to be like we don't want to really push into it. It's just a gentle, the power's there, but we're not straining. We're not pushing past or tensing our muscles, tightening. It's a gentle movement. And a lot of what Tai Chi, the power of Tai Chi comes from the body being unified, okay? When we do these movements, if we can unify one forward and one back, even if we have what would be considered as less power, less force, the mechanics of one forward and one back and everything arriving together is what's going to give you that power. So what I was talking about, say, in the basics class is the legs, okay? So finding the balance in your legs. So when you step from your single whip, and if you forget your arms and you shift back and step into an empty stance, that you know what 70% is and how much to put into it. Okay, so you know that you're not just touching like this and leaning your torso, right? There's a big difference from touching and pushing weight versus touching and trying to lean into it. So you'll feel a difference in your thigh and how these muscles work. Okay, good. All right, let's do it again, and then we will talk some about the kicks and just some basic things to work on this week to make next week a little bit easier, okay? So from single whip, left leg forward, finding that nice neutral straight up and down position. Shift back your weight, rotate the one, open up the hook, change, one forward, one back. Okay. Ooh. You know how many pretty rounded arms I see? Good job. Okay. Do we feel okay about high pattern horse? Okay, let's talk about kicks. You'll get there, Karen. You're doing great. I was watching Karen specifically, guys, while you were training. She's come so far. As a beginner, we all struggle, right? We've all been there. A lot of you have been with me through this the second time now, and the improvement that I'm seeing in everyone is so incredible. It's inspiring for me to be a better instructor. Okay, so let's talk about our kicks. So let's work with what we were working with just now, right? It's that weight transfer. It's how we move and find balance, okay? So everyone go into a left bow stance, okay? Or your left leg is forward, you're in a nice natural stance. Now you can lean forward like it was brush knee or something if that feels comfortable. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna shift back our weight. We're gonna pick up and turn our foot just like we would for brush knees. Pick up, find your balance. Step out for another bow stance. Okay, now turn your body, turn your foot. This time, move your weight, pick up your foot, and stand up. Curl back your foot, push out your heel, and kick. Whatever that is, bend your knee. Sink back down. Step out for a bow stance. We're gonna shift our weight. We're gonna turn to the corner. See how the body's angled to the corner? So we can shift our weight, pick up, and stand up. Lower down. You can kick or not. I want you to get used to this feeling of stepping to a bow stance and then shifting your weight so you can turn your foot. Shift all of your weight. So you see what happens when you shift all of your weight? Your foot peels off the ground. So then you can come to center and pick up. And kick if you want, bending your knee, toes pointing down, lower, step, bow stance. We're gonna shift, turn, pour the weight into your front leg. Pick up, stand up, kick, bend your knee. Okay, relax. How do you guys feel about the transitions there? How's the balance? Look at this. So this is what we're going to be doing a lot of. Now we're going to do a little experiment here. This is a good one. So I want you to take a couple of rounds.
When you're kicking, is your hips open and you're sort of off to the side? Is your knee off to the side or is it forward?
Thank you, Karen. I'm skipping over basics and I'm so sorry. So when we are doing a kick, our standing foot is at 45 degrees, okay? So just like the back foot of our bow stance or empty stance. When we stand up, our knee direction is to straight. So we still have this rounded crotch feeling. Our torso and hips are going to be to the corner. Our toe is pointing down, so we don't want to curl back foot. So when we do this, we're not standing here like this. Its toe is pointing down, okay? We're lifting. We're sinking and rooted, but we're also feeling light. Now, how do we achieve this? So everyone find balance on one leg, okay? So shift your weight, find 45 degrees, maybe check. Pick up one leg. It doesn't matter what height it's at, okay? We want to try and get to level, but do what feels comfortable, okay? So now, stop breathing. Hold your breath. Do you feel like your balance is affected? So let's exhale and lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, kick out. Bend your knee. Lower down. Take a deep breath. Release the exhale. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, kick out. Big breath in. Lower down. Now take a deep breath and hold it and try to stand up. And lower down. What did you notice? Wobbly, right? So when we're doing these kicks, sometimes our mind can kick into high gear, and then we lose our balance, we lose our breath, we lose our connection. This is where Tai Chi can benefit every aspect of your life, okay? Focusing in, calming the body. When you get to these sections, focus on your breath, okay? Don't worry about, oh my goodness, I have to stand on one leg. Just worry about breathing down to your center, okay? That natural breath that you had when both feet were on the ground, okay? So let's do the other side, okay? Same kind of drill. So just finding our center balance, right? So we're gonna change our leg, put that foot to the corner. We're gonna sink, inhale, lift up. If you wanna do the arms, feel free. Exhale, kick. Bend your knee, lower down. Follow your own breath. So maybe take a breath here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, kick. Bending your knee right away and lowering back down. Okay, so now lift. And I want everyone to try to turn the torso to straight and see how it affects your balance versus if you're open to the corner direction.
That's huge.
Okay, there's a big difference, right? So when you're doing the kicks, this is something you can think about, is if your off balance comes from your breath or your body direction, right? So when we do the kicks, everything is to the corner except our leg. If my leg was to the corner, it would be this way, but it's to straight. But everything else is open to the side, okay? And when we do these kicks, we use our cross hand arms, and then just like our warm-ups, we rotate the palms and open up to the side. So just like it. So sometimes our left arm will be here, and we open up and out to the side. And then you can let them go down. You guys make pretty circles, it hurts. So you can put the right arm on the outside now and do the same thing. So what I'm trying to say is that when your left leg is your kicking leg, your left leg will be on the outside. When your right leg is the kicking leg, your right arm will be on the outside. But the movement is exactly the same, okay? So it doesn't matter which arm is on the outside, left arm or right arm, it's still the same circle, okay? Any questions on these? Because we're gonna get into this next week.
So Cheryl, this is the other Karen. Do your arms go out to the sides, or is it a 45-degree angle with your arms to each other? Okay,
good question. So when we do the kicks, the arms are like two little rainbows or eyebrows. It's like an up and down, okay, up and down. The arm direction, so our body, our leg is straight, right? I'm gonna show you this way first so you can see it straight on. Body's to the corner, leg is straight, arms are to the corner. They follow the torso direction just as if it was crossed hands, but we're just off to the corner. When we kick, our arms end up so that one follows our leg direction and the other one should feel like single whip, except the palm is sitting up, so it's at the corner direction, okay? So one is straight, one is corner. We don't want to open up too much. It should feel like if you made a hook, it should feel the same as single whip, except both palms are sitting up, okay? So depending on which arm's forward, you got that same feeling, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's just do a couple with the arms and the legs together. And so I want to talk about one more thing before we do that. So we have, in this section, we have two types of kicks. We have a lotus kick, a swing kick at the end of the form, but for purposes of this class, we're going to be dealing with two kicks. So both of those kicks start with your toe pointing down and your knee up, okay? The first kick we'll see next week is the top of the foot, and it's kicking out. So we're using the foot. The other one, we push our heel out, curl our toes back, and we kick, heel kick. okay? So if I do it facing the camera, you'll see the sole of my foot, right? You see the whole bottom of my shoe for the heel kick. For the separation kick, it's more of a kicking out to the side. And when we do these kicks, our knee is to straight, but see, my foot is not straight. It's tucked in. It's protecting my groin area, okay? It's not straight like this. It's tucked in. So when I do a separation kick, it kind of comes out from an angle direction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this week, I want you to just practice your balance, okay? Practice your transition of your stance from from bow stance to empty stance, okay? And you're lowering up and down because this is what's gonna play into the next, well, through the end of section 2, okay? So let's just start with our single whip, and then we're gonna add in a kick movement. We're gonna drop our arms after high pat on horse. So we're in single whip. We're gonna shift our weight back, change our palms, change to the ball of the foot, one forward, one back. Drop your arms down, step out for your bow stance again. Move your weight back, turn your foot, pick up your right leg. Stand up, curl back your toes, push out your heel and kick. Bend your knee. Lower your weight down, step out, right leg forward, bow stance. And we're gonna shift back, turn, stand up with your left leg, curl back your toes, kick, bend your knee. Lower down, step out, bow stance. Okay. Is that feeling better for everyone? You feel like a little bit of balance to work on this week? Good. Okay. So next week we're gonna start with the first separation kick. Okay. We're gonna spend 2 weeks on it because the arm movements are a little difficult to learn. Okay. But in the meantime, practice your balance. Okay. You can even do this when you're brushing your teeth. You could stand on one leg brushing your teeth and see how your balance is. You know, it's little things. It's easier if you have an electronic toothbrush, but it still helps. Okay. So let me just remind you, tomorrow is Kelly's practice, 11 o'clock, normal time. Next week begins 9 o'clock, all right? So if you have any questions, you can bring them to Kelly tomorrow or me next week, okay? Thank you everyone for joining me.
Thank you, Kelly.
Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks, Kelly. Good.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Great class. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Cheryl.